appreciate you guys coming tonight. Mostly sophomores tonight. This is round night 3 of the laptop roll-off. Sophomores, you guys ready to get started school in 2 weeks? Parents, are you ready to get your kids out of the house in about 2 weeks? That's what I thought. All right. Well, again, welcome. My name is Jeremy Milton. I'm the principal here at Milton High School. We are very, very excited about the Milton School District 1-to-1 project, and tonight as we are handing out the laptops, where there's a lot of work that's gone on to get us to this point, and we're very excited to be able to be here. I appreciate parents being here tonight. You know, we talked about what we want in this first rollout. We wanted to make sure that we're communicating with parents, and we thought it important to have a brief time where we actually sit with parents and talk about the program, what some of the expectations are, and have them there when the students get the devices the first time. So I do appreciate you being here tonight. The first part of the program is going to be, again, sharing about the 1-to-1 initiative, and then the second half is going to be out in the cafeteria where you actually get the device. I'm not going to be the only one talking. I have 2 people up on stage with me that are going to help share what the vision of 1-to-1 is going to be here in Milton. I'm going to let them introduce themselves right now.
Hi, I'm Helen Wilson. I'm the library specialist at the high school.
And I'm Ed Snow. Thanks for coming. I'm the technology supervisor here for Milton.
We have a board running around here too. We have Sean Harbatine. Sean and Mr. Harbatine was a former teacher here. I say that now. He was a chemistry and physics teacher here at Milton, and just recently was hired to become a instructional technology integrator. Someone who's going to be working with staff throughout the district to help them use the technology in the classrooms more effective ways. He is going to be running around here just a little bit. But again, I wanted to thank you for being here tonight. I wanted to share the notes, and then we're going to go over, again, what the purpose of the program is. We're going to talk about some of the expectations for students. We're going to, Ms. Nelson is going to talk about what you can expect different in the classroom, and then finally we'll talk about what we're going to do to actually give possession of the devices to the students tonight. But first and foremost, I do want to talk about really the 1-to-1 story. What has it taken to get to this point? And really, first of all, the idea of 1-to-1, or every student having a device, is not something that's new in this country. There are schools across the country that are doing this. There are schools in Wisconsin that are doing it in a variety of different ways. However, here in Milton, we are going K-12. All right, every student will have access to a device, an iPad K-6. Every student in 7th, 8th, actually 6th grade through 8th grade, we'll be able to take an iPad home, and then obviously we'll have to get the laptops here at the high school. The idea of 1-to-1, we really started a number of years ago, but 3 years we've had it at the middle school, and we learned a lot the last few years. And the school board here in Milton has obviously took an interest in this, and they saw what was coming out of it, and really wanted to make it a reality here. We're grateful for the ability to be able to push this forward. Then, principal at the middle school, Mr. Tim Scheider, and I have had a lot of conversations. We talked about what would it be like to have this at the high school? What would this look like at the high school? As I saw what was going on down there, and we brought this forth with the tech team up here, including Mr. Harbatine, Ms. Nelson, Mr. Snow at the time working at the high school. I have to tell you, I had a lot of questions because I had to be convinced, and as many did, is putting that laptop in every single classroom for every single student, is that alone going to make it a better classroom? Are students going to learn more just because we have a laptop in them? And the answer to that is no. However, the last few years, as part of my job is obviously I get to watch the 65 plus teachers here, and I'm in their classrooms. I've really seen a transformation. As I began to watch what's going on in the classrooms and how they're using technology, I saw a change. I started teaching here about 18 years ago, and when I took kids, when I used technology, I dropped them all down to the computer lab. We search the internet, or they type a paper, and I take them on back. But what I've seen in the classroom recently that's really made me be able to answer the question, yes, giving these devices to students is going to allow them to learn better, is when I'm getting to see what teachers are doing with them. Students they're not just researching, and they're not just typing, they are interacting with each other. Outside my office, there's a bench, and I've seen students, I'd ask them, what are you doing? As I'm working on my chemistry lab with my partner, by themselves. said, who are you working with? He said, my partner's at home. She's got the data. We're putting it in working on it in Google Doc. That's becoming more and more commonplace. We have students that are watching lessons that are podcast from their teacher. They might watch Mr. Harvey give a chemistry lesson, and they say they don't quite remember that part of stoichiometry, so they can watch it again and again and again at home. And you saw these more innovative things going on in the classrooms, and I saw what our kids could do, and began to realize there's something to this. And it's kind of a mind shift. I heard it best described this way. Students today are what we call digital natives. They have always known an online world. They have always learned that way. This is something that's not new to them. It's hard for them to describe a world without that. Parents, you and I, we are what they call digital immigrants. We've come into this world. We've had to learn how to live in an online world. We've had to learn how to learn in that area. And as we think about, and we want to have the best education possible for our students, prepare them for that world of work afterwards. We want to give them that experience. And we believe that having this device in the students' hands, taking down those barriers, creating that equity, is going to provide that. So once we realized that this is what we wanted to do, and it was education was a good thing to do, that process really just started. It got us to about a year ago. And Mr. Snow is going to talk about how we did it and what some of the things that we in the district wanted to do to make sure we did it the right way.
Again, Mr. Stone, I'm really glad everyone's here today. It means you care. And I want you to know something right up front. There are some amazing people in this district that care a ton for your family, your students. They really work really hard and put a lot of effort into this. Some exciting things that happened. So, a year ago, Mr. Milton calls me up and says, hey, let's go find out just how many computers are in this building, just here in Douglas. So he drags me, and he's a lot more stride than I am. Killing the honors of this whole building, we found 730 computers in this building alone. Now, there's about 1,000 students here. So we're almost one-to-one already. Problem was, those computers didn't work. They were varying age, varying operating systems. And the other thing that was amazing is when we tried to take them away from the teachers because they were old, we got fought. The teacher said, no, I want that unit. I don't care if it works for 10 minutes a year, but I want it. It's important to me. Because my students are engaged, and because they're 21st century learners, and they need. So we quickly said, wow, this is pretty impressive. What should we do about it? How do we get there? And as Mr. Milton explained, there's been a shift in education, and students can teach just as well as they can learn. And they learn better by teaching. And we started to explore 21st century learning. And that's a different dynamic. So now they know how to do things that we never were taught. This is what they do, so we're going to meet them at their level. So the board kind of found out about this and got excited. And they said, okay, what do we need? And we decided we needed the infrastructure first. So the first thing we did was we built a wonderful wireless network that works. Students will tell you they brought their devices in last year, everything just kept working. That's great. So now we think we're ready. So now we had a device. We had to say, which unit are we going to buy? That's tough. That's kind of like saying, you want to buy a Chevy, you want to buy a Ford, Chrysler. That's tough. So we looked around, we made a lot of phone calls, we did a lot of research, and we settled on the Mac Apple Air 11-inch MacBook Pro. It's a wonderful device. It's very light. So students, you only need bar on the Macs when it's sore. It's got a solid-state hard drive. What does that mean in fancy geek terms? It means it's like a giant flash drive. It means it can take a lot of abuse because it has no working parts. Never gets hot. You come up here and touch it's cold, it's rough. I can kind of beat on it a little bit, it takes some abuse. Please don't try that. But excuse me, you can. I've dropped mine on the back of my pickup truck from about this high up in the case, by mistake, again, please don't do it. And it's been just fine. So it's a good, durable product. The other thing about it has a wonderful resale value. Sure, it's $900, but in 3 years it's worth $5. So we can also turn this back in, get some equity for it. Wonderful product. All right, so now we've got one thing else we've got. It's got a battery life of about 10 to 12 hours. So students, when they're being taught every day, they won't have to recharge. We won't lose educational time. That's important. There's nothing worse than having 6 kids that can't do something that the other 20 can in the classroom. So now we've got the device, we've got the infrastructure, and then the next topic came up and we said, well, what about the people? The people are important, the teachers are important. How do we help the teachers? Because they have to use these devices. So we went out and did some research and we brought in some professional trainers. They're here today. So some of our best and brightest are being trained by teachers that are recognized around the country. Ms. Nelson was there today, correct?
Yes.
How'd that go for you?
It was excellent. He's a very good presenter.
And did you learn lots?
Yes, I did.
Things you can take back to our district?
Exactly.
So we're not investing just in time and effort into our students and into hardware. We're investing in our people. So we said, great, that's wonderful. We've got infrastructure covered, we've got device covered, we've got teachers covered. What about the students? How do we support 1,000 laptops at the high school? How does the tech department of 6 people, forget the rest of the district, how do we support just the high school with 1,000 people? Yeah, I've stayed up at night, losing sleep on that. So what we decided to do is a couple of things. Number one, we're going to give your students power. We're going to make your students listen up real clever. Administrators on your machines. You control your machines. You can change the background, change your password, join Wi-Fi's. You can add cameras at home. You can do all those great things like you bought it out of a Best Buy or an Apple store. It's called a personal computer for a reason. We're putting the personal back here for the students. Parents, we're not that crazy. We didn't give them everything. They can only install software that we allow. So we've got a program in here that lets them install software that we give to them. They can do it for us. So no longer the technicians have to run around and install a piece of software every time it's broken. The students can do it. So that's a wonderful, wonderful thing that we're going to employ those 1,000 sets of hands. You know what? They're probably better at it than we are anyway. Students, you know, right? They're pretty good at doing this sort of thing. You're like, get out of the way and I'll take care of it. Okay, fine. We're going to meet you at your terms. Let's do this together. So it's a wonderful thing. Now with that, comes a little bit of responsibility. I think that was a Spider-Man quote. Great responsibility, great power comes with great responsibility. With that, we have some responsibilities, students. Mr. Billhorn's going to spend just a minute talking about that.
All right. Now, obviously, there are expectations of students. I think this is one thing that is important that we talked about tonight. And really, in a lot of ways, it's quite simple. There's the right way to do it, and there's the wrong way to do it. All right? How many of you parents have ever felt like the guy on the right-hand side there? All right? The days that I had. Don't like to admit that, Mr. Snow. But we searched a lot. We talked with a lot of different schools. We talked with Apple. And I want to know what are some of the simple things that we can do to help students take care of these devices? Because students, you are responsible for this. Right? When you did take possession tonight, you're responsible for their care. You're responsible for their condition. But we want to be able to help them out. One of the things we've heard time and time again is get a good case. Now, I have to admit, as I'm running around the school, going from meeting to meeting, or going from classroom to classroom, students are going to see me running around the school like this. My laptop is like glued to my hand. Not anymore. Right? From now on, if you are in the hallway, and that is, whether you're a student, you're a teacher, or you're a principal, that device is going to be in this case. You're going to get one of these cases tonight. One of the rules that we are going to instill is that in the hallways, it's not in the classroom, it's in the case. That little move right there is going to prevent most damages that do happen. Keeping it in the case is going to prevent a lot of problems. All right? That's going to be important. So you have permission, students, if you see me without my computer in my case, you can ask me, Mr. Billhorn, where's your case? All right? Because I guarantee you I will be doing the same thing if I see you. All right? So keep it in there. Do the same thing with teachers too. I've got to let them know that. So that's one basic expectation. Mr. Snow said they can come to school, they have an amazing battery life. They do right now, 10 to 12 hours, a charge mouse, a fully charged computer, which is great. That's obviously more than a school day. However, you have to charge it first, all right? Please, when your responsibilities, you have to come to school ready to learn. You have to come to school with your laptop fully charged. You're going to be getting a charging cable that comes with it. The serial numbers, by the way, do match your computer, so you have to keep it with your computer. You have to come to school with a charge. There's other things you can do to protect the device as well. You are allowed to put a cover on the case itself. They're called a skin. And Ms. Nelson,
There
you go. They come in a variety of different colors. This is something that you can choose to do. They can get them online. They're running anywhere from $10 to $20, $30.
$14 on Amazon.
Okay, or you can have one. You can also put one of these key covers on here as well. Those are usually just a couple bucks. In fact, I believe those are probably going to get sold in the Hawks Nest. That's something that doesn't come with the device, but you can choose to do it. What it does is it protects it from getting scratched. Also personalizes it as well. Now, on that note, one thing that we gave a lot of talk about is we have 1,000 of these devices, these bags around school. Whose is who? All right. You will get tonight a tag that you are going to put on. You need to make sure your name is on there. Also, you can personalize your bag as long as you can take it back off. Same thing with the laptops. You can put, if it snaps on or lays on, you can use it. If there's an adhesive, you can. There are some products out there that are like a sticker. We're going to ask you to drop anything that's a sticker type thing on there. Otherwise, you and I are going to be scraping that off when we turn these back in. Right? Other basic expectations. Know your devices. Right? Is it on that desk? Did you walk away from that desk and is it open? Okay? A device that's sitting on a desk open is easily knocked off. A device that's in the case closed, or better yet in your case, that's a lot less likely to get damaged. Little things like that do make a big difference. Just being self-conscious. Again, I said, being aware. Where is your device? Did I leave it in my backpack, or did I leave it in the case in the car? Is it 95 degrees outside, like it's going to be Friday, the football game? Is it going to be 140 degrees inside that car? All right? Just be mindful of that. That's part of taking responsibility for these devices. Which, by the way, if you leave it in a hot car, I learned you need to bring it back inside, wait till it's room temperature before you start back up again. Responsibilities for these are, well, you are responsible for damages. Right? Now, we have two things that we want to talk about. One is AppleCare. AppleCare is purchased like a warranty. We do purchase it, the district did, for every single device. That's for any defect, and Mr. Snow can jump into. That's for any defect that's on the device or something that happens not because of wear and tear, but something is a defect within the device itself.
Yeah, it's exactly like a warranty in a car. So, students, parents, please, if there's something wrong with it, don't be afraid that it's going to cost you money. Don't bring it in to the tech department. Please do bring it in because it's probably something that's covered under warranty. We can turn it in and get it done for free. So just make sure. Now, it's obviously damaged by negligence, if this to it, then obviously that's not covered. But if it's something that's normal wear and tear, and the accused is not working right, chances are it's covered under the AppleCare. Let us take care of that for you.
We've learned in talking with some other schools across the country that students oftentimes are hesitant to bring it in because they're afraid they did something. Don't be afraid. Bring it on in. And to that matter, too, I want to mention that we have new at the school this we have a help desk. It's in the old tech office. It's across students. It's across the hall from the Learning Center. We're going to have the students, I-Cadets. Each hour, I-Cadets are going to be there to help students who have problems, and we have obviously part of Mr. Snow's staff to answer questions as well. Please don't be afraid to bring those on. We have those expectations. Now, I do need to back up just a little bit because I mentioned these bags. One of the things we learned in our research was that there are problems with laptops when students stuff these into their regular backpacks. All right? Now, one thing I have learned in my time here at Milton is that students love their backpacks. All right? Which is why the next move I made is not going to win the Principal of Year Awards. All right? But students, how many of you rarely used your locker last year? All right? All students in the back there, that's part of the issue that we have. All right? Last year, we at locker cleanup, we realized we had well over half the student body that didn't use their lockers at all. Many of them just use them rarely. Many students rather carry everything in their backpacks all around school, and it is not uncommon to have 30, 40, 45-pound backpacks walking around the school. We had an issue we had to discuss, and that is what happens when these get stuffed in there, and also the potential damage. That, along with the issue of we had students and staff tripping over those devices in the cafeteria and lunchrooms. So, starting this year, students will not be allowed to have backpacks between classes. You can wear them to school, you can wear them home, but the backpacks are not going to be worn during the day. That's a big change, all right? We have made sure, by the way, that your lockers do work. Mr. Sorbo, custodian, you can thank him. He actually checked every single locker this summer. He did all 1,150 some combinations to make sure that they do work, fix the ones they didn't. Tonight, we're going to ask that if you get your device, if you get your laptop, that you go find your locker. We have a person out there that's going to, if you don't remember where it's at, you don't remember the combination, Ms. Nichols is going to be there. She's going to have that all ready for you. We want you to get there. We want your parents to say, yep, you have a locker. It does work. All right? Other research, other expectations that are going to help keep these safe is during lunch and during FIAD. During lunch and during FIAD, they're to stay in the lockers. All right? These are not going to be allowed in the cafeteria, and they're not going to be allowed at this time during FIAD. So they do need to stay in your street lockers. There's going to be more expectations we're going to talk about the first day of school. Also, we sent it home on 2 occasions this summer. We sent an email we sent out on the AUP or the one-to-one handbook. They have all the different student expectations on them. If you have questions on those, please don't hesitate to ask. Now, a lot of the expectations that I talked about have to deal with the device itself. There's that responsibility for that device. However, there's other expectations too, that you are using those in a responsible manner. Part of our initiative here is not just to teach with these devices, but it's to teach responsible use of those devices as well. When is it appropriate use technology? What is appropriate technology use? It's a term of digital citizenship. We will be, over the course of this year, talking about things like, how do you protect your identity online? What is your digital footprint? I've got to tell you, I've been in the midst of hiring this summer and last spring, and I've had the opportunity to talk literally with hundreds of young people who are looking for employment here at Milton High School. And there are occasions when I talk to individuals and they wish that 4, 5, 6 years ago they would have thought about what their digital footprint was, because it's costing them literally jobs now. That's something that we don't want Milton High School students to have to think about in the future. We want them to be prepared. Part of our mission, too, is to prepare students for living responsibly in the world. And I'll tell you what, that's not just, the responsibility is not just on how to use the device, but sometimes it's when not to use the device. I've talked with many people in the business world as they talk about what do you want to see out of students coming out of high school. And one of the things we realize is there's times when you've got to shut that device, and you just need to learn how to have a conversation as well. And that goes at home, too, by the way. It's important to know when is it appropriate to send an email, when is it appropriate to actually call someone or have that face-to-face, and how to have that conversation. That's all part of how we're going to be using these devices. Finally, I do want to mention just briefly that the parents do play a very important role in how this works. This is going to be changing over, we'll see it as we start this year into the second year and third year. This is going to change how learning looks. What we want to be able to do as we move in that direction, we want to hear from you. What concerns do you have? Talk with your students. Ask them, what are you doing in school? What are you learning? Show me what you've learned on that device. I think you'd be amazed when you see what they're learning on it as well. And students, I want you to hear me say this too. Your parents' rules regarding this device, they stay at home. They trump everything else with regards to this laptop. All right? I've had parents who have told me, you know what, when the laptop comes home, it's going to stay right on this counter. It's going to stay right on this table. Parents, if your student tells you that they have 8 hours or 9 hours of homework, they have to be on their laptop in the basement all night, that's not the case. Unless they have 6, 7, 8 AP classes, they're not going to be on it. They don't need to be. If you have concerns, please be sure to call the high school office. Myself, the other administrators, Ms. Nelson, Mr. Snow would be happy to talk to you about it. There will be some rare occasions where it may be the best answer is to actually have that device stay here at school. Hopefully we'll work through problems before we have to do that, but the reality is that might be the best answer. And that's something that we work out together. We do have a process in place where students can check in and check out their device up here at the high school. That might be what we have to do. Hope it doesn't get to that point, but that is an option as well. All right. That being said, the more exciting part is what's going to be happening in these classrooms. And I'm very happy to have Ms. Nelson, who's also been working with staff, talk about what's going to be happening.
Thank you. You guys are all going to look like this next photo, I know. Wait for it. There it is. Happy, smiling, beautiful new laptop on your desk. Awesome. Okay, so what I'm thinking to tell you the first thing is most obvious. You no longer are going to be trucking yourself down to the computer lab anymore. The computer lab is basically come to you. You now have a laptop. And one of the things that will get for both you and your teachers is going to be more instructional time right off the bat. And that's going to be helpful. You already are all using Google Drive. All right, as sophomores, you guys are the first group of people in the middle school, I think, who also had technology. Is that correct? Okay, you guys are on the vanguard. Which reminds me, any of you interested in becoming iCadets, please let Mr. Hall, Mr. Snow, or myself know because we're looking for more people, and that will be the group of people again that are helping others with technology. So I wanted to put that out there quick, kind of to the side. Google Drive is something you've used. You will be continuing to use it, but probably what will change the most for you is your audience is going to slowly increase. Right now, you've been using it to work mainly with a partner in a class that you have, maybe as a science lab partner, but you're going to start to see that increase across different class sections, hopefully across the building itself, and then outside the building into the community. What we're really looking to do with our laptops is get you into some projects that are going to take you outside of the school environment to get you feedback and an audience that goes beyond just your teacher. So when you're writing that English paper, it's not just for an assignment for your teacher to grade, it's for an audience bigger than that, and for a purpose hopefully bigger than that as well. Okay, so that's probably going to be the biggest thing that you start to notice over time. The other thing I want to mention really quickly, because I know you guys are anxious to get those laptops, and I'm going to stop soon, is we are unrolling something called Schoology, and this is for parents and students. Schoology is going to be basically an online hub for all your assignments. So your course teachers will be putting your things on Schoology. What that will do for you is allow you to have a central place to find all your materials as a student. What that does for you as a parent, especially if you have multiple children in the district, it will allow you to log on and see all that information from home in one place. So you won't have to try to go from teacher's website to this teacher's webpage to find that information. If your child comes home, oh, I forgot to bring this home with me, we can go online and find it, and it should hopefully be able to easily locate it. So watch for that as we start rolling out this year as well. And that's, I'm going to cut back to you because I know we're trying to get you this direction.
All right. Well, the last step tonight, obviously, is what do we do to get the computers. At the end here, in about 2 minutes, I'm going to ask you to exit out of the auditorium to the side and back to the left over there. Tonight, you'll have to sign that acknowledgement form at the end of the AUP. Some of you, I know, brought that tonight. That's great. We're going to ask that you sign a yellow copy, a gold sheet here that says, yes, you acknowledge all the parts of the handbook. If you're not comfortable signing that yet, we do have out in the lower cafeteria copies of the handbook you can take a look through before you sign. Also, we have a lot of pens out there too, if you need those to sign that as well. When you have a signed UP, we need a student signature and a parent signature. This goes to the students to the top of the ramp. You turn to the left, and Ms. Huber is going to be there. She's going to direct you to one of 25 staff members that are there to go and hand that device off to you. You're going to be checking that device in. You're going to be getting the case, the computer, the power cords, the name tag, the strap, and the process takes about 10 minutes. When you're done with that, you do have an option to, there's an insurance table there. I know many of you have purchased that. That is an optional policy. The district is providing an insurance policy for $75 for 1 year. It's zero deductible. The information that is in the table there, again, that is optional. It's a pretty good deal, but that's certainly that's your choice. Finally, when you're done with that, we do ask students, you go take a look at your locker. Just take a couple minutes, go find it, know where it's at, because you are going to be using it this year. With that, students, looking forward to seeing you guys in 2 weeks. Parents, thanks for coming, and we'll see you in September.